I am MS Mazhar from Nova CSS Academy Islamabad, and in this video of my column Crux, I will share with you the summaries and cruces of lots of important columns and editorials published in the Express Tribune as well as Dawn from 13th till 15th of June 2024. I create these videos to facilitate my students who are the candidates for the CSS Comparative Examination of Pakistan to get the best of these newspapers within a short span of time. I take the first column to be included in this video from the Dawn of 13th of June 2024. The title of this column is People versus the System, and this column has been produced by Khurram Hussain. With reference to the current budget announced by the current government on 12th of June, this writer is of the opinion that because of the dependence of this government and all the previous governments on IMF, the budgets were made in such a way that they always benefited the rich at the cost of the poor. The writer has also given us some important facts and figures to understand how the budgeting mechanism in Pakistan benefits the rich and the poor in Pakistan are always at the taking end because of the myopic policy making in Pakistan. I recommend this column for those who want to understand the flaws in our policy making and economic problems, and those who are looking for some data to write on the topic of poverty alleviation in Pakistan. And now, my dear students, I share with you the main points of another very important column that appeared in the Dawn of 14th of June 2024. The title of this column is Tackling the Lethal Troika, and this column has been produced by Tariq Parvez. This troika, which has been referred to in this column, is Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Afghan Taliban government, and Al-Qaeda, which has harnessed Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan to wage its jihad against Pakistan. The writer has suggested a four-pronged strategy to be taken by the Pakistani government to deal with this troika. The points of this strategy are: number one, Pakistan should become, first of all, a good democracy and bring about good governance and stabilize its economy so that Pakistan becomes a strong country. The second one is, if the Taliban are planning to relocate to the areas adjoining to Afghanistan but existing inside Pakistan, Pakistan should deploy forces and develop capacity of the local law enforcing agencies to resist this attempt of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Number three is, Pakistan should engage the Afghan Taliban government on three different levels. Number one, bilateral level. Number two, on regional level. And number three, on international level. And number four is that Pakistan should build the capacity of the local residents of those areas where Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan expects to relocate its fighters, so that they resist this attempt of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan as they did in 2022 and forced the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan fighters to migrate to Afghanistan. At the end, the writer tells us that only by creating good democracy and good governance and by creation of a cohesive society and strong nation building, Pakistan can successfully deal with this lethal troika. Another important column published in the Dawn of June 14, 2024 is Education Emergency, a Social X-ray. This column has been produced by Al-Karim Datu. With reference to the Prime Minister's recently announced educational emergency, this writer has first of all given us a detailed analysis of how this bulk of over 26 million out-of-school children was created by the society and the governments over so many years. The writer has enumerated a few important causes which include mass-scale poverty, government's negligence, and people's apathy towards the education of their own children. In order to make this emergency work for the amelioration of this situation, the writer has given a few very important pieces of advice, which include number one, the classification of different types of out of school children so that tailor made policies can be adopted to give proper benefit of education to all different segments of these out of school children. Number two, a multi-sectoral, multi-institutional and multidisciplinary approach should be adopted by the government so that all the segments of this society play a very positive role to give education to these out-of-school children. Number three, the government should not bound this teaching, educating and learning process of these children to the four walls of the classroom and the school campuses and buildings, because the focus should be on improving their education and learning, not packing them inside concrete classrooms. Different technological applications can be adopted to achieve this goal. And number four, the temporary learning centers established by UNICEF in the wake of the floods of 2022 should be multiplied to deal with this problem of illiterate children to the tune of 26.2 million in Pakistan. Another important column published in the dawn of June 14 is Protecting the Coast. This column has been contributed by Umar Farooq. In this column, the writer has made an important assessment of the impact of toxic industrial waste and infrastructural projects on the flora and fauna of the coastal areas of Pakistan. And the writer has also discussed the impact of the destruction of biodiversity of these areas on the environment in general. In the last part of this column, as expected, the writer has also submitted a few recommendations and remedies to deal with the problem in order to save our environment and particularly these coastal areas. I believe that reading this column is very much important for the students of environmental science. And now, I will share with you the crux of another important column that appeared in the dawn of June 15. The title of this column is Our Digital Liberty, and this column has been contributed by Samia Liaquat Ali Khan. In this column, the writer has provided us shocking and eye-opening data to reveal that Pakistani women have limited access to smartphones, mobile phones and the internet, and they are far behind men in our society in the use of smartphones and access to the internet. The writer has also presented a comparison of Pakistani women's access to internet and smartphones with several other equally poor countries to tell us that Pakistan is far behind those countries as well. The writer also tells us that patriarchal attitude is still the main cause of gender disparity in Pakistan. I believe this column must be read by the students who have opted gender studies as an optional subject for the sake of the CSS comparative examination of Pakistan. Now, I will share with you the cruces and summaries of some important columns published in the Express Tribune from 13th till 15th of June 2024. The first column from the Express Tribune, whose crux I am going to share with you now, is Israel's War of Vengeance dash the Deafening Silence. This column has been contributed by Inamul Haq. In this column, the writer has told us as to how Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza against the innocent people of Gaza are being despised by the people in the European countries and the non-Muslim world, and how the Muslim world is maintaining a shameless silence in this regard, except Iran, which has shown teeth and power to bite back at Israel. The writer tells us how the genocidal actions of Israel are being taken exception to by the different peoples of the European countries and the non-Muslim world, and how Israel is becoming the most hated country, and the Zionists, the most hated people in the world because of their inhuman actions against the innocent people of Gaza. Another important column that appeared in the Express Tribune of June 14 is Making Money via Climate Financing. This column has been contributed by Syed Muhammad Ali. In this column, the writer explains how the $100 billion worth of climate financing pledged by the rich developed countries to assuage the losses of the poor countries affected by climate change is being used in such a cunning way that instead of the poor countries, it is the rich developed countries themselves who are able to reap the benefits of this finance. It is possible because this finance is being given to the countries affected by climate change in such a way that this is not an aid but loan and investments. And this is also the reason why the poor countries are getting further deprived and the rich countries are making further money through this climate financing. The writer has also given a few case studies to buttress his point. Another important and interesting column published in the Express Tribune of the same date is The Misdeed of Seeking Intervention. This column has been produced by Durdana Najam. If you were born after 2000, then this column is quite revealing and worth reading for you because it tells you about the historical trajectory of Pakistan's democracy, in which many times it happened that the political parties sitting in the opposition invited the establishment or sometimes the judiciary to send the sitting government home. This column tells us, with the help of different incidents and events, how different political parties have been inviting judiciary and sometimes establishment to pull the legs of the sitting governments and to down the rival political parties. In this column, you will get the answer to this question as to why democracy has fallen so low in Pakistan. Now I share with you the crux of another relevant and important column that appeared in the Express Tribune on 15 June. The title of this column is Heading for Another 9/11? Question mark. This column has been contributed by Imtiaz Gul. In this column, the writer has presented an analysis of a sort of terrorist threat perception on the basis of the statements of different US officials and different articles published in the Foreign Affairs magazine. The writer tells us that different terrorist organizations active in Afghanistan and active against Pakistan are actually proxies which are hitting the interests of countries antithesis to the United States of America, including Iran, Russia, and China. And now I will share with you the cruces of important editorials published in the Express Tribune as well as Dawn from 13th till 15th of June 2024. Since the federal budget was announced on 12th of June, so the editorials of the 13th of June are mainly focused on the federal budget. So if you want to learn everything about the federal budget announced on the 12th of June, then read two relevant columns published in the Dawn of 13 June and one relevant column published in the Express Tribune of the same day. Another important editorial published in the Express Tribune on June 13, 2024 is Surrendering to Sugar Barons. In this editorial, the newspaper explains how the government's myopic policies, and not only this government, many previous governments' myopic policies and insincere actions of allowing sugar barons and wheat barons to export wheat badly impacts the local consumers by creating price hike and destabilizes Pakistan's economy. I also find some important and relevant points in an editorial that appeared in the Dawn of June 14, 2024. The title of this editorial is A Non-Starter. In this editorial, the newspaper tells us how unabashedly the Israeli government is continuing its genocidal war against the innocent people of Gaza, even after the passage of US-backed UNSC resolution for ceasefire in Gaza. The newspaper also feels that Joe Biden's peace plan announced on 31st of May 2024 was less because of his empathy for over 37,000 people killed in Gaza, but more for the sake of stabilizing his dwindling popularity before the presidential elections upcoming in November 2024. Now, the last editorial to be included in this video of my column Crux. The title of this editorial is Slow Start, and this editorial appeared in the dawn of June 15, 2024. In this editorial, which is basically based on Fafn's report on the slow performance of the government in the first 100 days of its establishment, the newspaper tells us that although the performance and progress of this government was not very bad, it was slower than expectation and the tall claims made by the government itself. My dear students, in this long video of my column Crux, I have given you all the important pieces of information regarding the important columns and editorials that appeared in Dawn and Express Tribune from 13th till 15th of June 2024. I hope this video will give you a great deal of help to get the best from these newspapers within a short span of time. With this, I wind up today's discussion and hope to see you again with the column Crux based on the newspapers from 16th till 18th of June. I hope there was holiday on 18th of June and also holiday on 19th of June. Anyhow, I will make the next video of column Crux based on the newspapers published on 16th and 17th of June 2024, and then the newspapers that came out after the Eid holidays were over. Thank you very much for watching this video, and Allah Hafiz.